everyone has a different story to tell. Shell, which says it's losing it.
The Tampa market. Spiral rise.
In Northeast Africa, precisely on the horn of Africa.
All right. Whew. Good morning, folks. Sorry. I'm kind of late. A couple of minutes late. Hold on. Whew. Yeah, I have to do something this morning, so yeah, so sorry, I'm late. All right, so today is another day, another new day, right? Yeah, another new day, but same old thing. Okay, so once again, this is Frank. I am your host for the Revolutionary Repatriation Educational Lecture Series aspect of WCC, held every Friday at 10 a.m. to whenever we can stop. All right, so today's topic is white supremacy is both labor and consecutive. White supremacy is both labor and consecutive, or both Democrat and Republican. All right, and this topic today is based on two cases. All right, but with similar situation. So Tyree Nichole, Tyree Williams from North Carolina. All right, and Tyree Nichole from Memphis, Tennessee. All right, so both cases are the same, but Tyree Williams from North Carolina, his situation happened with white, and Tyree Nichole from Memphis, his situation happened with black, but different approach when it comes to the justice system. All right, so both of them were killed in police custody by being tased, right? And but again, so we're going to look at it and what is happening here. All right, so white supremacy is both labor and conservative. And then we're also going to look at World War III, the making of World War III. Yeah, it sounds so bizarre, right? How can you make war? Oh, yes, you can make war. So the making of World War III, how World War III is being, made right before us, okay? So all I can say to you is start getting your passport ready. Yeah, start getting your passport. If you don't have passport, try to get one. All right, try to get one to have it. Don't wait till 11:59. By 12 o'clock, you won't be dead. You will be dead. Do not wait till 11:59 to start getting your passport ready or to start applying for your passport. By 12 o'clock, you'll be dead. So get your passport ready before 11:59. Now, having said that, let's get into the first case. So the first case here, we're going to look at an article comparing those two cases and then see how both laborer and the consecutive cover that story. All right, let's get into it. And then we're going to do some analysis comparing both of them. And Marco X already told us, all right, liberal and conservative, they are all the same. They all have the same agenda. But the only thing with the liberal pretend to black people, okay, telling black people, oh, we understand your situation. We all are the same. And no, you don't understand our situation when you are not in the situation. All right. Okay, let's continue here. All right, hopefully they allow me get access to this article because I've been having it for a while. This is from the Wall Street Journal. So I don't know. I've been having it for a while. All right. So I still have access to it. Very good. All right. So this is the case right here that we're going to look at, and then look at other stuff. So let's discuss this. So 6 Raleigh, North Carolina police officer put on leave after in custody death. So 6 police officers, right? Just like the 5 black police officers in a case of the Memphis, Tennessee, right? With Tyree Nichole, right? Now, with North Carolina, it was 6. Memphis was what? 5. But Memphis, all 5 police officers, in no time, all of them faces were on social media, even on the news channel, right? And in no time, all 6 of them was charged guilty, right? And in no time, all 6 of them facing what? Jail time. But with North Carolina, those 6 police officers, white, they were put on leave, administrative leave, and they are still taking pay, and they are home, rejoicing, jubilating, all right? Taking pay every 2 weeks with their family, having lunch, having breakfast, having dinner, all right? But let's see if the cases, those 2 cases are not the same. Now, with this case, as last week, we read and we saw President Obama tweet. We read and we saw Joe Biden tweet. We read and we saw Kamala Harris tweet. Okay? All 3 of them tweeted about how the Memphis case was horrible, was brutal, was humiliating, was painful. Okay? But with this case, similar situation, no tweet from Obama, no tweet from Kamala Harris, and no tweet from Joe Biden. What is happening here? Both liberal and conservative, they are all the same. They are all white supremacy. Just because Donald Trump came out and shouted loud with his mouth, that does not mean only he is what? Racist. Just because someone is silent and doesn't want to talk about it doesn't mean he's not racist. Open rebuke is better than secret rebuke. Open rebuke is better than secret rebuke. I would rather love the person who says to me in my face, I hate you, than to be friend with the person who hate me, but don't tell me in my face that they hate me. Because when you tell me you hate me, I will know how to come around you. I will know how to position myself. Both liberal and conservative, they are all white supremacy. They protect white supremacy. Let's continue here. Now, it says the Raleigh, North Carolina Police Department placed 6 officers on administrative leave in connection with the January arrest. January, last month, right? January, last month arrest of a black man who died in police custody after officer used a taser on him, according to a memo and body camera footage released by the department. Why are these 6 police officers put on administrative leave? Let's continue. White supremacy is both liberal and conservative. Let's continue here. Tyree Williams, 32 years old, was approached by police while in a parked car. In a parked car, not a moving car. The car was parked. He was just sitting in there. Let's continue. In a parked car with a passenger late at night, according to a memo. Now, this was also at night, right? With the Memphis, Tennessee, also at night. Let's continue. Both cases, similar situation, but different approach when it comes to the justice system. Both conservative and liberal, they are white supremacy. Let's continue here. According to a memo with a preliminary report of the incident rating by Raleigh Police Chief Estella D. Patterson to Raleigh City Manager Marshall Adam David. Let's continue here. That was a review by the Wall Street Journal. Body camera footage showed that while detained and scuffling with police, he told them he had heart problem. He told the police he had a heart problem. He told the police he had a heart problems. Let's continue. After officer used a taser on him at least 3 times, and I believe this man was not, or this man was compliance from the fact that he told the police, I have a heart problem. He already put his medical condition out there. Let's continue, right? After officer used a taser on him at least 3 times, he became unresponsive and was pronounced dead at a hospital later that night, according to the memo. Then why should you put these 6 police officers on administrative leave? And up to now, those 6 police officers, their names, their faces are not even on social media, are not even on CNN, BBC, or are not even on ABC or CBC or DDC and everything. And news are not even reporting it. Like how those 5 police officers, their faces was already on CNN. Those 5 police officers, even the president of the nation, the president of the United States, tweeted about it, how horrible it was, how painful it was. All former presidents who did the same thing. Kamala Harris did the same thing because black faces were there. And I can tell you, because of those black people, some law are going to be passed. Those 5 black police officers. You know why laws will be passed? Because those 5 police officers being black, their faces will be under law. Now, when they are teaching, that's that incident in schools, you're not going to see white faces. You're going to see black faces who committed the crime, who committed the act. But have it been the first time for such thing to happen in the country? Absolutely not. But those 5 police officers' faces will be there as teacher will be teaching students about police brutality. And what we come to student mind is, when it comes to police brutality, black people are the one doing it to their own people, not white people. And when they are teaching it, they are not going to go deeper as to what have happened between white police officer, or let's just say what have happened between police officer and African people or black people. They're just going to go straight to the law and show those 5 police officers' faces. And then says these are the things when it comes to police brutality. And in the minds of students, it will look like black people are the one killing their own people when it comes to police brutality. So these 6 police officers, their faces have not been shown to the public to see, even their names. Same situation, different system, different, that's a different approach, right? Let's continue here. Now, he died in police custody. After he was taken to the hospital, he was already dead. Okay? Now, let's continue. The Raleigh Police Department is conducting 2 investigations. Imagine. Those 5 police officers, there was no 2 investigation. Investigation was already done right on the scene after viewing the camera or after viewing the incident. And the incident, in fact, the video was shown to the public in no time. Let's continue here. The Raleigh Police Department is conducting 2 investigations into the incident. One into the action of officers involved in the arrest, and other into Mr. William Ashton. Now, the victims. So you see right here, 2 investigations, right? 1, Mr. William Ashton, and then 2, the police officer. But then, why investigation, this same privilege was not given to the other people? Not that I support the other 5 police officers, but the issue here is, why when you have 2 investigations to put blame on a victim that, oh, this was the cause, this victim got killed by those 5 police officers? Let's continue here. 1 into Mr. William Ashton, according to the memo. Separately, the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation is conducting an independent criminal investigation and will present its finding to the Wake County District Attorney, the memo said. All right, so separate investigation, independent investigation will be done. And I believe the reason why independent investigation is coming in is even based on the family of this victim to say, no, you are not going to cover up. I believe this is what even the independent investigation is coming in. But let's continue. The incident subsequent placement of officer on leave comes in the wake of the January death of Tyree Nichole. Now, both of them were shot in January, not shot, but both of them were killed in January by taser, right? By police brutality, right? Both of them in January. Let's continue here. The incident and subsequent placement of officer on leave came in the wake of the January death of Tyree Nichole at 29. Now, Tyree Nichole, 29. Tyree Williams, 32 years old, right? Years old black man doing an encounter with Memphis police after a traffic stop, a case that drew national attention, right? Why this did not draw national attention? Oh, because it involved police officer killing black men. Why the first one encountered national attention, or came with national attention, or drew national attention? Oh, okay, because it was black police officer that killed a black man, right? So they want to do it as black on black crime, right? You see that? Let's continue here. 5 officers involved in that case were fired. You see, were fired. Not even sent on administrative leave to say we're going to do investigation. All 5 of them were immediately fired and charged with second-degree murder following an internal investigation. Right away, and the investigation did not even take long. All 5 of them were fired and charged with second-degree murder. But these other 6 officers were put on administrative leave. They are still getting taxpayer money. Okay? Now, let's continue here. In an incident involving Mr. William, Officer C.D. Robertson and J.T. Thomas were conducting proactive patrol of businesses in an area of rated with a history of drugs and weapon violation a little before 2 a.m. on January 17, according to the department memo. Now, just because the play involve high crime, right? That doesn't mean everybody that live in that area are criminal. Just because the play involve high crime, it doesn't mean everyone that live in that area are criminals. Just because someone sell drugs in our place, it doesn't mean everyone that live in our place are drugs dealer. The term proactive police describe effort by police to prevent crimes before they happen, by canvassing neighborhood rather than responding to incidents after they have occurred. Now, in this case, according to what you said, you were never responding to incident. In fact, let's read this. The term proactive patrol describe effort by police to prevent crime. Now, in this case, you did not prevent crime, but you committed a crime. You did not prevent crime, but you committed a crime. And second, crime did not occur before you went there, but you committed a crime without a crime that was committed by this person. Let's continue here. The term proactive patrol means or describe effort by police to prevent crimes. How can someone who is put or who are put, people who are put in place to protect life and to prevent crimes, but rather go in preventing crime but commit crime? You are there to prevent crime before it happened, right? But you went and committed the crimes. You were never responding to an incident. You are there to prevent a crime before even incident happened. You are there to respond to incident, right? But incident did not happen. This man did not commit a crime, but you went and committed a crime. Why should he be put on administrative leave? Now, okay, let's see here. Let's continue here. Let me not get to the next era. Let's continue. Officer Robinson approached a parked vehicle. This man sitting in his vehicle. And I believe anyone can sit in their vehicle. Anyone can sit in their vehicle. So is it a crime now for black people to be in their home? Because black people have been in their home and they got shot. And police went free. So in your car now too, you are still a criminal. Once they see you sitting in a parked car, obviously you are a criminal. And these are the training they gave police officers when they go for trainings. These are the training they give them when they go for training. When you see a black person say that person looks suspicious. Now, he approached a parked car or a parked vehicle in which Mr. William occupies the driver's seat, joined by a passenger beside him. Officer Robertson said he observed marijuana. So now they're betting their case. All right, they're betting their case here now. He observed marijuana, and so what? I think some states here have medical marijuana. So even if you observe marijuana, marijuana is made for smoking. So are you telling me, only in black community or in black neighborhood marijuana I? Why can't you go in white neighborhood to go do your search? There are marijuana in white neighborhood as well. But you give them the privilege. You don't patrol their neighborhood. So they have the privilege to do what they want to do, to sell or to smoke. So, as he now bearing his case, right? He observed marijuana. And a container of alcohol in the car, and asked the occupant to get out. So, first of all, how are you going to observe marijuana if you are not really close to that car? He saw a black man sitting in a car. According to them, it's already a high crime area, right? So he saw a black man. That's how he approached the car. Because you can't be far from the car and observe marijuana unless you have a dog who is trained to smell it. But you can't be 10 feet, 15 feet from a car and you see marijuana. So because he saw black people, according to them already, it's a high crime area. They do canvassing, they do patrolling to prevent crime. So when they saw this man, because in their mind, it is their duty to prevent crime in high crime area. So when they saw this man sitting in a car, along with a passenger, a female, what came to their mind already is a high crime area. And black people are known for violent or are known for criminal activities. So what came into their mind, these were criminals. These were gang. These were talk. They were there to carry on crime. Obviously, that led them to go to the car. And when they went to the car, you know how police officers do. They tried to intimidate this man, and this man couldn't take it. This man felt to himself, he's in his car. He's in a private property. He's not on anybody's property. He's sitting in a car. So the video is not yet out, but I believe they asked him for information, for identity, and the man said no. And that's how they went ahead to search this man's car. You were never called on the scene. 911 was never called. Why did you embarrass this man? Why did you kill this man? So let's continue here. As officer approached to assist, according to the memo. Now, Mr. Williams standing outside the car. So I believe that they already pulled him out, right? Because they asked him to get out, right? So Mr. Williams standing outside the car. Officer Robertson searched him. So from here, you can see that this man was cooperative because they told him to get out, right? He get out. He did not refuse to get out. So then how did this man get, how they call it, killed in a police custody? Because they told him get out of the car, he got out. They had no right even searching his car. He did not commit a crime. They had no search warrant. So are you telling me if every car you see over there with black people sitting in there, you're going to search it? So we are not doing nothing. So these are the police now. We are not doing nothing. Okay, so let's say Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams said, we are not doing nothing after they were searching him, right? He said, we are not doing nothing. Mr. Williams said in the body camera footage review by the journal. Now, keep both your hands on the car, Officer Robertson said in the body camera footage. If you can't listen to my instruction, I am going to put you in handcuffs. That's how they do it. This man listening to you, you already searching this man. So you see, they intimidate you to have case against you. You told this man to get out. This man kindly got out. And he said, we are not doing nothing. You searching this man. This man, he did not resist. Or he said, I am not doing nothing. Now, you shouting at him, right? Keep your hands up. Put your hand on the car. If you can't listen to my instruction, I'm going to put you in handcuffs. That's how they do it. I am not trying to put you in handcuffs. But that's what you're trying to do. You are not trying to put him in handcuffs, but that is what you're trying to do. The father, you already told him to get out. He did not commit crime. You are 911 was never called. You already told him to get out, and you section him. Why you think going to be next? Put him in handcuffs. Let's continue here. Shortly after, Officer Robertson pulled a folded dollar bill out of Mr. Williams' pocket that contained a white powder substance visible on the body camera video. Based on that finding, the officer decided to arrest. So you see here, right here, already. So they already put crime on him, right? To arrest him for possession of a controlled substance, the memo said. Now, what's going on? Mr. Williams said in the footage, he keep asking, what's going on? Why? The scene then turned tense as Officer Robertson told Mr. Williams to put his hands behind his back, and other officers joined and sought to subdue him. The footage showed they ordered him to get on the ground while they scuffed with him. Now, Officer Robertson then used a taser on Mr. Williams. And if you see this report here, Mr. Williams was not aggressive right here. In this report, as you can see here, this man got out of the car when they told him. He got out. They searched him. This man did not resist. Or he said, why are you searching me? Why? That was the question he asked him. So by asking police officer why. What is going on? Does that mean you should tase a man by asking why? What is going on? He want to know why you approach his car. He want to know why you searching his car. He want to know what are you searching him. Officer Robertson tased Mr. Williams, accusing him, let's say causing him to fall on the ground after he tased this man. This man, at the beginning, he told them, I have a heart problem. So they tased him, and this man fell on the ground, right? Now, the photo again show this man falling on the ground, right? After he's been tased, who have heart problem, right? Let's continue. Other officers order him to put his hand behind his back. Mr. Williams broke free and ran across a parking lot. Before falling to the ground again, he fell off from the taser, right? From the taser, he fell off. Now, falling off, this man already, he's powerless. The first time you tase him, he fell. So 6 men, the first time you tase him, he fell. 6 police officers over this man couldn't even put his hands behind him. This man already weak. He fell. Right? And that fall he went down, they was on him, right? They were punching him. All those bodies were laying on him. So he found his way out, thinking that he was going to die, I believe. He had to run for his life. And he went across the other side, he fell. So in your mind, police officer, this man again fell. What did they do? Let's continue reading. So he went on the other side, falling on the ground again for the second time. Officer caught up with him and strangled again. You see here? And strangled with him as they sought to handcuff him. So when this guy fell, these 6 officers went there. They never thought wise to see what's happening. They never called ambulance. They never called 111. But they struggle with this man again. Let's continue here. Over the course of 50 seconds, officer used another tear gas again on Mr. Williams twice again. This man already lying down helpless. They start using tear gas on him again. Okay? In 50 seconds. To us, more in drive stone more, in drive stone more. Okay? Now, this drive stone more, it means somebody who was not responding to them, not responding to their command, someone who was violent. Okay? So they are trained to do these things, right? You only do it at certain place or at certain level when somebody is actually more violent and you don't want to use gun. But this man, looking at what we are reading here, he was not violent. Because they themselves are not even saying what this man was doing violent. Okay? But they did this man in a dry stone mold. Now, what it mean? Dry stone mold, what it mean? Meaning that the taser was in direct contact with his body. This was complete assassination. And you let these people, they went on administrative leave. This was complete assassination. Okay? Direct contact with his body, according to the memo. One taser made contact with Mr. Williams' side. And you know, on your side, either your kidney, your organ, your breathing organ. There where they are. This man, again, remember, these police officers know that this man have a heart problem. He have a heart disease. They know it, right? Having a heart disease. And then when they took the taser and put it on his side, where he have his breathing organ, and you allow these people to go on administrative leave. This was complete murder. Now let's continue. And the other with his back. So you see, and the other taser went to his back. Remember, this man got a heart problem. one on his side, right? His organ, and the other one at his back. Now, at our back, imagine the organ also there, and the heart also there. After the first one, Mr. Williams can be here on the video saying, I have heart problem. After the first incident, when they test him, he told them on the video he have heart problem, but they care less. So, let's see here. So as the story goes, right? Let me take it out. As the story goes, they themselves, they noted this guy lying on the floor. He was not even breathing. He was not even responding. Okay? And then that's how they call the amulet. Okay, so let me read that part. So after they finished doing all of that, right? They performed CPR on him until first responder arrived and took over resuscitation. And took over resuscitation effort. But after he was already dead, because they themselves, they noted this man on the floor unresponsive. You see, Mr. Williams was unresponsive, not breathing, and without a pulse. The memo said, so even before first responder came, so all of these things going, they never called the amulet. But after they noted that this man was lying down there, not responding, in handcuffs, right? Then when they checked him, he was unresponsive, no pulse, nothing. This man was already dead. And then before they called 911. So listen to this now. Mr. Williams was later taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead at 3:01 a.m. The cause of death, including toxicology results, are part of continual investigation according to the memo. We're going to continue investigation here again, folks. What we just read here. You see it? What we just read here, what kind of investigation supposed to go on here from what we just read? What kind of investigation supposed to go on here? You see it? So, this case, similar to the method incident, Tyree Nichole, right? But up to now, Obama have not yet tweeted, Joe Biden have not yet tweeted, Kamala Harris have not yet tweeted. And up to now, most people don't even know about this case because it's not even on the so-called media. Like how Tyree Nichole incident was on the media because those involve Black people. The media show it so that the entire world can see it and say, now, another Black man have died and Black people kill him. Okay? Another Black man have died and Black people kill him. You know what the message is? This message, you know what it's for? The reason why they put those 5 Black police officers there, they put it there to tell the world when George Floyd incident happened, it was what? White men, right? The entire world took it. Black Lives Matter took it. With this incident, these are now Black police officers. Where are the Black Lives Matter? That was the reason why the so-called media brought it out. That's the message behind Tyree Nichole. But it's not because they wanted to carry it, but they brought it out. Where are the so-called Black Lives Matter organization? What are the so-called liberal? That's why they brought it out. To make the world to understand that Black men kill another Black man. But with this, the media silent. No footage revealed to the public. And these people are on administrative leave. These are 2 cases with similar situation. But the only difference is the Memphis is 5 police officers, and in North Carolina, 6 police officers. They killed this man, right? But let's see how white supremacy work. Every one of them in power are working with the system to protect the system. Every one of them, whether liberal, whether conservative, whether Democrat, whether Republican, all of them work together to protect the status quo of the system, for whom the system was created for. Let's see a video here. I'm going to tell you from this video, right? We're going to watch 2 videos, short video. From these 2 videos, now you will get to understand why Obama did not respond to this, why Joseph Arab Biden did not respond to this, why Kamala Harris did not respond to this. And by the way, Kamala Harris is no different from Joseph Arab Biden. You remember, Joseph Arab Biden put more black people in jail, the 1994 crime bill, right? The 94 crime bill. And even Kamala Harris, what? In California, she put more black people in jail. So they all are the same. So let's start from this. All right, this is what 7 minutes, and then we're going to go to another video. All right, that was done in New York. That is what 8 minutes, and you're going to see from people. And now you're going to understand why liberal don't care and conservative don't care. They all are protecting white supremacy. For me, I would rather prefer the conservative, because they do open rebuke. They don't do close rebuke or secret rebuke. They do open rebuke. So let's see Joe Biden talking here. This is why they don't protect black people. They don't protect African people, and they will not. And these people know their reason.
Everybody, welcome back to the Jordan Report, and I am your host, Robert Jordan. Everyone, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. All right, guys, let's go to The Intercept, where they leaked this audio tape of Biden talking to the civil rights leaders, Al Sharpton and so forth. And he's talking about, the first part of it is he's talking about the racial demographics of the country. And the reason why he's free to talk like this in front of these black Democrats is because they are a part of this globalist scheme to change the racial demographics of the country. It's a racist scheme. I think it's genocidal in nature. But this is what they're trying to do. I'm going to show you about a minute of this clip, or play a minute of it since it's audio. And then I'm going to show you a couple of articles about what it is they're actually talking about.
Welcome to Deconstructed. I'm Ryan Grimm.
We ready to go?
Hello.
On Tuesday, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris held a private Zoom call with a small group of civil rights leaders from across the country.
This is a completely closed call, so just want to remind you of that. There's no recording.
Clearly, somebody did record, and now I have a copy of it, and now you're listening to it. Present for the Zoom was Derek Johnson, president of the NAACP, Vanita Gupta, a former ACLU attorney who was Obama's Civil Rights Division head, the Reverend Al Sharpton, Sherilyn Ifill, Melanie Campbell, who's the president of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, and soon-to-be former Congressman Cedric Richmond, who Biden has named an assistant to the president. In many ways, it was a Zoom call like any other.
Can't hear you, Cedric. You're on mute.
It also included a few Biden-esque boasts.
I'm the first person, black or white, who calls attention to the fact that you were finding that there was the rate of people who were African Americans who dying was 3 times that of white people. I don't carry around a stamp on my head saying progressive and I'm AOC, but I have more of a record of getting things done in the United States Congress than anybody you know. Anybody you know.
Some Biden cringe.
By 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. Hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do.
And some.
Okay, he was talking to black people. Look at these people. This is who he's talking to. He's telling them that the country is going to be minority white and minority black, okay? Further minority black. They've been saying this for 50 years, people. It's a globalist scheme, okay? They've been working on this a long time. And it's not just American whites. It's whites in Europe. The European countries are being faced with the same thing. Here's an old article from last year. U.S. white majority will soon disappear forever. By 2050, the U.S. will be a majority minority country, with non-white Hispanics making up less than half of the total population. How do they know that? There's nothing organic or inevitable about this other than leaving your border open and letting these people come into your country. That's the only way you can change a person's country's population. Here's what happened in Britain when they did the same thing. British white people set to become a minority in Birmingham, says a report. Report also says nearly 50,000 residents in the city cannot speak English. What did they do? They allowed all these people into their country, and now they are faced with being the minority. British white people will soon become the minority in Birmingham, while nearly 50,000 residents in the city cannot speak English. They're thought to be residents from nearly 200 countries living in Birmingham, which has been described as super diverse in the city council's new cohesion strategy. You see, they all have these offices and agendas to turn their countries from majority white to minority white. They're actually doing this, people, on purpose, okay? It's a globalist scheme. The same thing happened in Sweden, okay? They don't have a non-white country that borders them. Where are all these people coming from? Somalia? You know how far Somalia is from Sweden? Okay, that's who's in there. Sweden goes from most racially homogeneous to most heterogeneous in record time. While Sweden's population remained almost exclusively Swedish for most of the 20th century, the share of immigrants and their descendants have quickly soared to about a third of roughly 10 million people. A third of their population, people. Now, I'm going to show you a quick clip of 12 years ago. 12 years ago, they were telling white people this. And white people, let me say it again. It is not inevitable. The only thing that makes this inevitable is if your border stays wide open.
The Census Bureau has taken a new snapshot of America, and it shows some dramatic changes and predicts still more ahead. For one thing, the new report says more than 4 out of 10 Americans under the age of 20 belong to racial or ethnic minorities. And in nearly 1 in 10 counties, minorities are now the majority. Nancy Cordes has more.
The census figures reveal a new reality in America's classrooms. Minority populations are climbing everywhere.
The white population, I wouldn't say is fading into the background, but it is becoming the older, less fertile part of the population.
When demographer William Fry crunched the data, he found huge jumps in the Hispanic population, far from the traditional melting pots. Up 21% in St. Joseph, Missouri, up 17% in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and 15% in Pascagoula, Mississippi, all in just 1 year's time.
You're seeing it everywhere. People are going for jobs. They're going because they want the American dream.
Whites still make up 66% of the population, but their numbers have grown only 2% since 2000, compared to 8% for blacks, 29% for Hispanics, and 26% for Asians.
It's tough because we're still seen as being either inconsequential or that we're not even really Americans.
The changes are forcing school systems to adjust to new fault lines fast. In Maryland's Montgomery County outside Washington, D.C., the schools went from mostly white in the 1990s to 60% minorities today.
As the diversity changed, the poverty changed.
The superintendent dropped class sizes, boosted literacy programs, and now sends pamphlets to parents in 6 different languages.
If you don't have a plan to accommodate the diversity and the poverty and the language, your community is going to have a train wreck.
The Census Bureau has long predicted that whites would drop below 50% of the population by the year 2050. This new
Now, that's the first aspect, right? That's the first aspect of the comparing the video. Now, you may ask, but what this video have to do with police brutality, right? Now, you see those percentage? Let me tell you this. By you putting white people in jail, what are going to happen? If you put them in jail at the rate at which you put black people in jail, they are already afraid, okay, of being the minority. All right? So if you put white people in jail at the rate at which you put black people in jail, what's going to happen? In 4 to 5 years to come, the 50 year that they are talking about, you will even be reaching out 50 years and it will be gone. Now, those 5 police officers that have been sentenced, those police officers, they were still young. They still had a chance to procreate. So those babies that they should have born, okay, it's not going to happen again. All right? So right there, what happened? You have cut down the percentage of black, just those 5 police officers, not even the number of black, all right, that are wrongfully in prison. You know what you did right there? You stop the procreation or the percentage of black increasing. You getting the point? Now, those 6 police officers in North Carolina, why? They are still young. If you put them in prison, you cut down the percentage, okay, of adding to the white percentage. They are not going to procreate. They are not going to get birth again. They are not going to, how do you call it, pregnant their women. Or their men will not pregnant them again. They're going to be in jail. So you have cut away that other family from procreating. That's the reason why when these things happen, they do not want to be harsh on white. Because that's going to decrease, it's going to help to decrease their population. Imagine, prison was built to imprison black people from becoming violent when slavery was ended, from imprisoning black people from increasing in numbers. So it was a way of what? Still putting black people into slavery. Read the 13th Amendment. Most of you know it. We say slavery has ended. Nobody will be in, how they call it, a slave again in this country. No one will work for free. And then they say what? Except. That except, you know what I mean? It means there's a split. The 13th Amendment. Except if one is in prison, then you will go back into captivity. Then you will work for free. Then you will work without pay. Then you will be slave, except. So slavery did not end. The 13th Amendment did not end slavery. And when that 13th Amendment came, that's the time police, they enforced the police system where black people were caught and taken to jail and in prison. And how, in the first place, the prison system became private? Because during slavery, most slave or owner were private entrepreneur. So now that 13th Amendment gave them the privilege to still own slave, to go to the prison system, to own prison compound. So most of them invested their money, their finances in owning the prison system. So do you think the 13th Amendment was made by black people? It was never made. Do you think it was the 13th that black people that said slavery in? Nobody work for free now. XYZ. But except, you think that black people put that in there? Except when you become in prison, then you work for free. It was not black people that did it. It was the same people that did it for their descendants. Liberal, conservative, they are all the same. They are all the same. So that's how you see more black people in jail from that time of the 13th Amendment. From that time, and this 13th Amendment, we're talking about 1865 when slavery was abolished. So when slavery was abolished, they put another thing in place. They put another system in place to stay in prison, to stay enslaved black people. So it was a message to black people. Don't think slavery has ended. Don't think we have given you the 13th Amendment. But you are still a slave, except if you are in prison. Then now you become a slave again. You become to work for free. That's how people invested their money into private prison. So that is why they do not fight for black people. That is why they do not talk for black people. I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat. And you so-called Negro, you take yourself to be Democrat voters. These messages go to you people. Because you think Republicans are the bad, are the worst. So white Republicans are different set of white people. White Democrat are different set of white people that was created. Malcolm X told us they are all the same and they serve the same purpose. One is just there to lie to black people, which is a liberal. One is there to get black people vote, which is the liberal. But the agenda of both are the same. Let's continue to another video again, see here. So you see, that was President Biden in a video making a statement. Do you think President Biden, that statement he made, are the only person in this country that have done this for black people from African American, this, that, then, and then he said by the year 2040, white people are going to be minority. Do you think President Biden actually support that idea? Now, first of all, let me take this out. You see in the video call, right? In the video call, in the video call, what did they say? They said this meeting will not be recorded. But somebody in there recorded a secretly recorded a leak. Secretly recorded a leak. Do you think President Biden support the idea of white people becoming a minority 40 years or by 2040? Absolutely not. So they want to put a bunch of black people in there that they can train. But black people who are already trained, who understand African people's circumstances or situation, they are not going to work with them. You remember what Ice Cube once came and said he understands black people's situation and that the government should come to him so that the government should invite him so that they can sit down and discuss black issue. They didn't do it because he understands black people issue, because he will put black people issue forth on the table. But no, they said, no, we don't want to work with you, Ice Cube. So they recruit people that they can work with. They can train to carry on the idea of the white supremacy. That is neocolonialism. Neocolonialism is not just only on the African continent. Let's continue to the next video. Now, this was a pool or a street pool that was done in New York City. So let's see what happened here, okay? Let's see this.
The game is this. I'm going to give you a quote, and you're going to tell me how racist that quote is, from 10 being most racist, 1 being least racist.
I've been around. I went to all-white high school, so I'm ready for this.
Referring to Barack Obama, he said, first mainstream African American who is bright, articulate, and clean. How racist?
10.
Who is bright, articulate, and clean.
Yeah, that's up there. That's like got to be like a 10 and a 9. Yeah, because it's like you're implying that most Black people, most African Americans aren't that way.
That's just like, that was just like, you know, moderate racist.
It's kind of racist. I would say probably 9. Just because somebody's articulate and clean and they happen to be Black, you know, that's not a reason to say it like that. So, you know, I would say that on a scale
On the racist-o-meter.
8. I was a 7.
A 7.
Yeah.
So still racist,
That's still real.
but not crazy racist.
Yeah, not crazy, like, not huge.
Right.
Say that's like a 9.
That's a 9.
That's,
Wow.
that's a 9. That's a 9.
So he said, if you don't vote for me, talking about Black people, then you ain't Black.
10. You don't vote for me, you're not Black.
First of all, let me add to that statement. If you don't vote for me, you are not Black. That is one of the most racist statement you will ever hear from a man who wants to be president or who is seeking to become president. From a man who has served, according to him, this country for so long. So, in reality, he was actually saying, you people are not American. Because if you believe they are American, you should allow them to exercise their own right as to who they want to vote for. You don't have to go and to tell them, if you don't vote for me, you are not Black enough. That statement just means you are not American. That statement means they don't recognize you as American. Because Black is not your nationality. If you're talking about voting, Black is not a nationality. That's a liberal statement. That's
I'm gonna say that one definitely not as high as the other one.
Okay.
It's definitely up there.
Yeah.
But I would say that's like a 6, 7.
6, 7.
6.5.
6.5. I like that. I like the accuracy on that.
Yeah.
The exactitude.
And for someone to imply that is a bit like, who are you to tell me if I'm Black or not?
I've been getting paid $1,000 a month, if not more, just from this app on my phone. And I don't know if you can.
So yeah, I'd say that's about a 10.
I'm gonna give that a 8.
An 8.
That's just a dumbass comment, right?
Referring to inner city busing, bringing Black people to white schools, he said that would create a racial jungle. I don't want my kids going to a racial jungle. How racist is that?
It's like a 9.
By doing that, you're creating racial jungles. And I don't want my children going to that's a 10.
That's a 10.
Off the bat.
I was bust. I understand that. That's a 10.
Straight up.
Straight up. I would say 10.
That's a reader racist quote.
Yeah.
How racist?
Definitely. I would say 10 too.
10.
That's a 10.
Why would you say something like that? That's like pretty much saying that's a 10. If you had a 20, it would be a 20.
That was as racist as you can get.
Yeah, that's racism in a book. Like, if you want to be racist, you got to say that line.
Like, who said that?
Right.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
In referring to inner city Baltimore, he said it's a rat-infested hellhole.
It's 100% true. It is.
Now, let me make some clarity here. All right. My brother said that was not a racist statement, or it is not a racist statement by the president. And he said it is true because people are living there with rat infested, right? And he said, no, it's true. Then if the president said it, that's not a racist statement. Now, just because something is true, that doesn't mean it's not racist. And let me make my brother to understand, and to many of you, just because something is truth, that doesn't mean it's not racist. So let's say this. How about we put it this way also? White schools are more funded and they are more better than black schools who are not funded and they are worst. If the president said that, when you say it's not racist, it's true statement, the question is, why are white schools funded and more equipped, and black schools are not equipped and are not funded or are underfunded? It's because of racism. If only you understand how it started and why did it start. If only you understand why white schools or university are more funded, are more equipped than black university. If only you understand why black universities are struggling, but they are in the same country, under the same institution, under the same government. It's racism. You have to first understand why black people live in horrible conditions. If you understand the history of this country, it's racism that made them to live in such horrible conditions. When their rights are being denied, other rights in other neighborhoods are not being denied. You think people live in those areas because they want to live there, or because you think so? But let's continue here. I just want to remind my brother, it's racism.
So not a racist statement.
Not a racist statement at all.
Like in one.
You're living in poverty and your schools are no good. Is that a racist statement?
No. Not whatsoever. I was saying.
So you see, exactly, the question came back to him. And he said it's not a racist statement. So you see it. So are you telling me people that live in our area, okay, good, like Melissa said, Miss Life said, people pay taxes in Maryland, exactly. So if they pay taxes, why their schools are being underfunded? So are you telling me in white suburb, they are the one that pay taxes, and that's why their school systems are good? But my brother there, he don't understand, he don't know. But he said it's not racist. Their school be underfunded.
Probably one. That's true. See, these are facts. So you can't put it in a racist category because he's stating something that's really basically facts.
Our inner cities are a disaster. Is that a racist statement?
Say that, but it's not racist. I would say probably true.
Don't like that forever.
Okay.
I don't feel it's a racist statement. It is something that's real that needs to be changed.
So, my other brother said it's not a racist statement. It is a fact, but he thinks it's something that needs to be changed. Who gonna change it? Who gonna change it? The liberal? The conservative will not change it. And of course, the liberal will not change it. They are all white supremacy. It's white supremacy that made your inner city to look like that. Because they put system in place. They put system in place to be like that. They put system in place for black people to still be slaves in this country. The present system. If only you understand. And then you say it's not, but the only thing they need to be fixed. Who want to fix it? So why are they keep fixing schools or university in white neighborhood or in the suburb, and they keep funding it, they keep supporting, they keep sending a support system and so forth and things? but they are not sending support system to you. Do you think they can fix it? Do you think the United States don't have the capital or the finances to fix it? Do you think people in your city are not working to pay taxes to fix it? So are you telling me you have different government system? The same governor in your state is the same governor that govern everybody, whether black neighborhood or white neighborhood or black suburb or white suburb, is the same governor. So who's gonna fix it for you? It's racism, it's segregation, which is still alive. It's white supremacy. Understand the system.
The quote about Barack Obama being bright, articulate, and clean, Joe Biden.
Really? Wow. And that was his VP, like, wow.
Yeah, a little surprised?
Yeah.
The quote about you ain't black, you don't vote for me was Joe Biden. He did say that.
Wow. Wow.
You seem blown away.
Yeah.
Again, do you see how lost we are? The sister did not even know Joe Biden said those things, or Joe Biden said that. She did not even know. Do you see how lost we are as black people, as African people? Do you see how lost we are? This is a statement that this man made on national TV. It went public. She don't even know that he said it. She don't even know that such war ever exists.
Because it's just like, as someone who's, I'm not gonna lie, open Democrat, like, you would expect that when you represent that party, you wouldn't feel comfortable saying things like that in the open and on media. So we have so many people, specifically black people, that are backing you, and you just felt comfortable saying something like that.
Saying you don't vote for me, you ain't a black person, Joe Biden.
Yeah, he did say that. I remember. Joe Biden again?
Joe Biden again. Joe Biden said to Charlemagne the God.
Wow.
And the last quote about the racial jungle with busing with Joe Biden.
It makes me fearful.
Everybody knows Joe Biden's racist. Why?
Does everybody know that?
I think you should know that Joe Biden ran 3 times president and he's racist. He never won unless it was an actual black person on his ticket. So.
Because most people were shocked to hear those quotes came from Joe Biden.
Really?
Yeah, most people here did not know that.
It's very sad.
You think the Democratic Party has taken the black vote for granted?
Definitely. 100%. They want our vote, but it's not nothing being done to make a difference as far as the conditions and the changes that we really need. It goes to a deaf ear. It's like nobody's listening to what needs to be done.
I feel like they come in and do a photo op and try to highlight it instead of really fixing the issue. Because later on down the line, you get in office, you turn your back on us.
Huh. Of course, everything has always been for years.
I would say something. And I also say that when they need what, that's when they come to us.
Right.
And after that, hey, you don't see them.
Of course they do. They only use it for their game when they're trying to win an election.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I genuinely feel that way. I find that when black people, when it's time to vote, they kind of like go to the black community like, we have your vote, we have your back, right? And black people are like, yeah, and then it's like as soon as the vote's done and you have it, it's like you drop us like a hot sack of potatoes and you just like walk away from us. It's like you don't do anything for our communities, you don't do anything for like us in general.
Most of the time, they don't do what they're supposed to do for black people. So it's like no matter what, they're gonna vote for us anyway because that's how we're conditioned to vote for Democrats.
You say Barack Obama did anything to improve your life over that 8 years?
No, not at all. Did nothing for me.
In the 8 years he was president, do you think he made a significant improvement in your day-to-day life?
No,
Did your lives get better under Barack Obama?
The only thing that improved is that a black man was in office.
Her mother's life. Nothing has changed.
Not quite. We was happy to see a black person in the White House.
Sure.
But it didn't really. There was no big change that we expected. He said, yes, we can.
More black people actually died in America when he became president.
During his term.
During the first term and everything.
But in Barack Obama days, he was just sweet talking. Sweet talking. That was it.
It's a black person in office, so we automatically just run to it and say it's a good thing. Right. When it's not. Obama wasn't a good person. He has killed children and women.
All right, he didn't deliver.
You're saying in the inner cities, right?
Yeah.
Democrats are being voted for, nothing's being changed.
Correct.
So you're implying that we should vote for Republicans in those cities and see if there's going to be a difference?
That's what the Republicans are saying.
That's what they're saying.
For sure.
Huh. If something's not working, someone's got to be open to new ideas, obviously. But let's hear these ideas first. Why not?
So, again, so you see it, right? And you heard it from the horses themselves mouth at the end of the video. I didn't say it. So, again, connecting this video, right, back to the article we just read and connecting that to the topic, white supremacy is both liberal and conservative. They are not there to solve black people issue. Now, first of all, why would they want to invest in black university or in black schools? Why would they want to do that? If they already know that by 2040, white people will become a minority. Do you think they want to work to empower black people? Absolutely not. Why would they want to empower black people when they know by 2040 white will become minority? Do you think they want to see white black people ruling white people? In their mind, the table will turn. When they become, and you know, when they refers to you as minority in this country or in European world, when they refers to you as minority, you know what that means. You are poor. You live in a deplorable condition, like the description they gave with Maryland, with rat-infected neighborhood and so forth. So in their mind, minority, you're gonna live in those conditions. So do you think they're gonna empower black people? They're gonna empower black university or black schools? Do you think so? Do you think they're gonna give decent life to black people to live in a good neighborhood and things? Because once they do that, you're going to start thinking to be innovative. But if you live in a deplorable condition, you're not going to be creative or innovative. Or you're going to think of how to find food to eat, how to get maybe a job where you can get a 2-week paycheck. You will not become innovative and you will not think wise. You will not get the opportunity to start thinking that I think I need to get to the next level. So they are both the same. The conservative, the liberal, they are the same. They are not going to work to empower you because they have the same agenda, the same way. No, if a liberal can think that way, that by 2040, white people are going to become a minority, then what do you think will be the conservative? What will be their thought? They both think the same way. The liberal only need you when they need you and they come to you and they get what they want to get from you. That is why they hated somebody like Malcolm X. Because Malcolm X spoke the truth about the present and the future. About the past. He spoke both the truth about the past, the present, and the future. And when he told both of them, they don't have your interest. Both of them have each other interest. Both of them seek power. Both of them seek how they call it, power and stuff. So both of them had the same thing. The only difference is the conservative, they don't care whether they come to black people or not. They don't care. They speak boldly. But the liberal, they want to come to black people to get black people votes, to get black people support, to get black people money. They get your money, they get your finances, and then they leave. They go improve their community, they improve the livelihood of their people. They leave you hanging. That's the liberal. But they both speak the same language. They have the same attitude. So do you think with this, they have about black people in the future, do you think they're going to empower you? They're going to work to suppress you because they don't want it to happen. You know where it is to be on top there? And then you find yourself below. And then those that are below find themselves on top. You think that's something easy? It's a better pill that nobody ever want to get into. You see that? Now, let's continue to the next video and see how they even also take that into the school system.
Walked out of school today because they say more than 200 students at Hillcrest High walked out of school today because they say they were told to censor their Black History Month program.
Now, who will be trying to censor a Black History program during Black History Month? Can you give me some insights, Megan? Please.
The walkout lasted about an hour here this morning at Hillcrest High, and students on the board of the Black History Month program say that they were told that they had to leave out topics like the civil rights movement and slavery from this year's program.
Wow. In order to discuss Black history in this country, these students were told not to talk about slavery, which can go back as far as 1619, and the civil rights movement, which can go back as far as to 1970. Anything before 1970 cannot be discussed. Wow. Ms. Suttles, can you elaborate for me, please?
We were told that we could not talk about slavery in the civil rights movement because one of our administrators felt uncomfortable.
So what you're telling me, Ms. Suttles, is that you had an administrator that felt uncomfortable for having Black kids talk about Black history is the reason why they decided to limit your Black history learning. How does that make you feel, Ms. Suttles?
For you to tell me that I can't talk about something that is dealing with my culture is very disturbing. It's very confusing.
Okay. This is tragic. This is terrible. Megan, this is your report. So can you tell me, what did you do?
I reached out to Hillcrest High School for more answers about the direction students were given. I was told to contact the Tuscaloosa County school system. They sent us this statement reading in part, "We are putting together a plan to make sure our students feel heard so that we know the right steps to put in place to ensure all students know that they are valued."
That did not answer the damn question. The school directed you to the school system, and the school system gave you a political ass non-response. Megan, what was the outcome of this whole debacle?
Students tell me they were just recently made aware they can now talk about civil rights and slavery in their program at the end of the month.
Hell no. So let me get this straight. A school in Tuscaloosa, Alabama decided that for Black History Month, when these kids put on a program to talk about and discuss Black history in America, somebody felt queasy in their gut and decided to cut Black history between 1619 and 1970, just black it all out. So these kids got to put on a program with Black History Month starting roughly around 1970 until 2023. So what are we going to talk about? Jesse Jackson running for president, Shirley Chisholm trying to run for the Senate, and then Barack Obama making it to the White House? And then when the outrage is festered and the kids started to act, you went and said, okay, you got us. You can discuss your Black history, but you can only do it toward the end of an already short month. What do you think?
All right, and let me just add to that. Now, and part of the reason why, again, they are denying. Now, these are students that actually want to learn what happened to them. These are students that want to know their past. These are students that want to know people that came after them. These are students that want to know, first of all, how did they get here? These are students that want to know the freedom that they are having today. Who gave it to them? Who fought for those freedom? These are students that want to know what it means when they say Black History Month. There's a question here. Let me see this question. There's a question from Denny. He said, why is there a Black History Month? Why we as Black catch hell and death every day of the year, 24/7, 365 around the clock? And that's a very great question. And I believe question like this is what made those students to say, we want to know why there is Black history, why there is something called Black History Month. Because when that time comes, we don't learn anything. All we do is we just hear Black History Month, eat some burgers or some cheese, okay, do some movie, and then we sit home with our family. But our family, they don't tell us nothing as to why this thing is called Black History Month. Even if we go to school, the school don't tell us nothing. Why there is something called Black History Month and there is nothing called White History Month. What is behind Black History Month? Because these students are asking questions. If white people to live in this country, Black people to live in this country, why do they have Black History Month and they don't have White History Month? So why is it called Black History Month? I'm learning nothing. But every year you bring it to me, Black History Month. So these students want to know what's so important about saying Black History Month. What is so disgusting about saying Black History Month? We want to know. And somebody there in the classroom said, if you know and understand what Black History Month is, I will feel guilty. I will look disgusted by teaching Black history. But guess what? Not only that, by teaching Black history, it will unite Black people. Because Black people will see common understanding. Black people will see that. They will see the present and the future intertwined. They will see the past and the future intertwined. And that will unite Black people. Because Black people will get to understand that, why should I hate my brother in the first place? When this happened to us in the past, when my brother and my sister and I went through this in the past, and my brother and my sister and I, we are still going through it in the present. How can I look at another Black man to even say horrible thing against, or to even go against, or to even do again or whatsoever against my Black brother? It will unite Black people. And that is why they are afraid, both the consecutive and the laborer. They are afraid of that Black unity. They are not going to teach it. Because Black people will come to understand who they are. They will get to understand, when I see another Black man, that's my brother. When I see another Black sister, that's my sister. Because I understand the struggle. They will understand the struggle. And unity will exist. But white supremacy, both of them, the L and the C, have the same agenda. Why will you feel so comfortable to discuss an incident that is done by black people, but you don't feel comfortable to discuss an incident that is done by white people? No, let me ask that question again. Why will you feel comfortable discussing, right, incident or situation or issue done by black people, but you don't feel comfortable discussing issue or situation done by white people? You feel comfortable discussing the fire police officer, but you don't feel comfortable discussing the sex police officer that killed a black man. But you felt comfortable discussing the fire police officer that killed a black man. You felt comfortable by in prison in no time finding those fire police officers guilty. You did not even put them on administrative leave. They did not even get the time to go back to their loved one and their family and to talk to them, to tell them any goodbye. You send them straight to prison. You send them straight to jail. You feel comfortable doing that. You feel comfortable discussing that on your channel, on your media, on your platform. But you don't feel comfortable discussing white people when they kill black people. You don't feel comfortable sending them to jail right away. You feel comfortable sending them home to go to talk to their parent, to go to talk to their loved one. You feel comfortable, or you feel comfortable putting them on administrative leave, and they still get taxpayer money. They still get paid. You feel comfortable. White supremacy. Let's get to the next stage. Now, let's get to the next topic. The making of World War III. The making of World War III. So, we're going to read an article again, and then from that article, and we'll base our discussion on that article as we move on. Now, there's a CNN. Okay, the USA CNN. This is not Africa CNN. This is not black people CNN. This is white media. This is both liberal and conservative CNN. Okay, now it says here, a trail of new intrusion leave America. Leaders grasping for explanation. Now, first of all, in recent time, right, it has been reported on numerous platforms that a second object has been blasted. A third object has been blasted. It is channel spying. It is channel this. It is channel that. It is channel hand. It is channel you. Now, and people have believed it because people in this country are so lazy, they don't go to find out the truth. They only sit and watch news, eat some pizza, drink some soda, buy pizza, sit down, cross their leg, eat pizza, drink soda, and then they go for the day. They brainwash them. And this is what America is so good at. Convincing the citizen. You understand, the last time, we talk about it, Barack Obama said, democracy is failing because the citizen no longer believe in the media. He said it. Democracy is failing because the citizen no longer believe in the media. No. It's because the citizen no longer believe in the BS. The citizen no longer believe in being indoctrinated. The citizen no longer believe in being conditioned. The citizen no longer believe in the lies. So they came out recently and they said China was bumping. And then, most citizens, all right, most people in this country, they took it. They said, oh, now China is crossing the line. China is doing bad. China want to go into war with America. China is tempting America. China this, because they do that to get the American citizen to support the political elite, to support Washington, D.C., to support Congress to go to war. Because if they don't convince you, you will not allow your children to go die. Foolishly. You will not allow your children to go die. If they don't convince you, you so-called Negro, if they don't convince you, you will not think that you are American. They have to convince you first to say, oh, China come and kill American. China hate American. And that's what they do. They have to convince you to have that mindset so that you can go and die. But let's continue here. Recently, there was another object that was brought down in Canada. And they said it was Chinese balloon. It was Chinese. China was trying to spy. First of all, when they talk about the number one country in the world that can spy, that America. The number one country in the world that do spy on other nations, that do interfere in other nation activity or affair, is the United States. So when they see similar things that happen, they get afraid. This is not to say I am talking for China. But you see, America is going to be afraid until she's going to do something to herself. She's going to harm herself. And this is what exactly happened in recent time. Now, it could have been the third object they brought down. It could have been their own balloon, their own object that was out there spying. But because of lack of communication, they want to bump it down. And now they can't come to the public to say the object that was bombed, it was American object that was in the air spying. They're not going to say that because the question there will become, if you are spying, why other country can have their own balloon up there to spy? My analysis is based on the report from the CNN. So let's get into it. Now, a deepening national security mystery is threatening a political storm after U.S. fighter jet scrambled 3 days in a row to shoot down a trio of unidentified aerial objects higher over the North American continent. Now, first of all, they are saying an unidentified object, but it has been reported already on numerous platforms that it was Chinese object. It was the third Chinese object that was bombed. And Americans already believe it. Citizens already believe it. It's already in their mind. So these media are not coming out to change the narrative again, to tell the Liberian or the American citizen, oh no, we made a mistake. That was wrong information. And most citizens, they don't know about this information that have been released because they are not going to read it. They are not going to do research. What they already got from the media, that's it. And that beef, that animosity about China is already there in their mind. It's already there in their heart. It is already created. Let's continue here. The flurry of attack on the unknown crafts came a week after the hardly public tracking and ultimate drawing of a Chinese balloon suspected of carrying out surveillance. Now, the team detailed tracking out of Pentagon and Capitol Hill about making an already hardly unusual international episode even more bizarre and confusing. What is it bizarre and what is it confusing? You already told the American public that it was Chinese balloon that was spying and you bump it down. Why is it confusing again? Let's continue here. And that is why people don't believe it. And Obama said democracy is failing because nobody believes in the media again. These are the things. Because now, when you come and say something, people are going to re-follow. Nobody wants to be conditioned. And that is why you think democracy is failing. Because people have come to realize that one of the most lie or betrayal in the world when it comes to government is the democracy system. Democracy lie. Democracy, they are not truthful. It is not a government or a system that is truthful. It's based on lies and exploitation. It's based on lie and deceit. That's how people have come to understand. Now, it says, no one, not the White House, the Pentagon, or the government of Canada, whose aerospace has also been infringed, seem able to say exactly what is going on with these latest down craft. This raises caution for top military brass and U.S. spies agency. Listen, in U.S. spies agency, like I said, it could have been the tail object they brought down. It was another U.S. balloon, or it was a U.S. balloon also out there spying. But because they already have beef with China, they want to bump it. Now they can't come out and say it was a U.S. balloon that was out there. But let's continue. Brass and U.S. spies agency, as well as for the potential safety of civilian aviation. And it creates an information vacuum that Republicans are against using to question President Joseph Biden leadership. Because Joseph Biden leadership already told the American people that this balloon that was brought down, it was also in relation to China spying, and the media run with it. Let's continue here. The intrigue is also unfolding against a tense global situation. Now, you see, there's the main part we are coming on. So this whole balloon situation going on here, it's not merely about balloon. Like we said, it's to convince American people that China is worse. China is coming to kill American people. China, they are coming, they are against American. They are this. To make American people to think that the Chinese hate them. The Chinese want to create war. Because if they can't convince, they can't convince the American, you will not go to war. You will not want to do it. If they can't convince the so-called Negro, they will not join the military. They will not want to go killed, to go be killed. Okay? But look what it said here. The intrigue is also unfolding against a tense global situation. Now, this situation about Russia and China, okay? This is what's happening. Because some people think that they are losing their superpower. They are losing their ground, their status in the world, okay? It's against a tense global situation, with already difficult relation with rising superpower China becoming ever more hostile, and with the U.S. leading the West in an effective proxy war against Russia. Now you understand that. So now you understand why all these balloons, all these space, all these that. You understand where it's coming from. If they cannot create a narrative, you will not go to war. You will not agree to go to war with China. You will not agree to go to war with Russia. They have to create this narrative. Now you understand in here. You understand what is going on here. Now, First of all, you understand again who is fighting Russia. It's not Ukraine fighting Russia. Okay? You understand here. Now, they themselves said it here. It is the US, it is the European Union. They are the one creating or fighting proxy war with Russia. They did not say Ukraine here. You see it? They are the one fighting proxy war with Russia in Ukraine. They did not say Ukraine is fighting Russia or Russia fighting Ukraine. Let me read that again. The intrigue is also unfolding. That means the tension about the balloon, China doing this, China spying. That is the intrigue they are talking about. It's also unfolding against a tense. You see it? So America have a situation with China becoming a superpower in the world. Okay? America have a situation with Russia also being a superpower, and those two countries are collaborating. And not only that, they also have a problem that they are losing their status in Africa. Understand the broader perspective here. Let's continue here. Now, the intrigue is also unfolding against a tense global situation with already difficult relation with rising superpower China becoming ever more hostile with the US leading the West in an effective proxy. Now, it's not Ukraine or Russia fighting us into an effective proxy war against Russia. So now you understand. Another West proxy war created in Ukraine to fight Russia. I didn't say it. You get it here clear. All right? You get it here clear. Now, let's continue. What's going on in the last 2 weeks or so, 10 days, has been nothing short of craziness. You see it? So what have been said? What have been going on? China doing this, China spying, China this. They themselves have come out. It's in quote. And they're going to tell you who quote it. They themselves have come out to say it's craziness. It's craziness. You see it? Now, what's going on in the last 2 weeks or so, 10 days, has been nothing short of craziness. Democratic Senator John Tester of Montana said Sunday on Face the Nation on CBS, hour before an airborne object was shot down over Lake Huron. The military need to have, another quotation again, the military need to have a plan to not only determine what's out there, but to determine the danger that go with it, he also said. With the North American Aerospace Defense Command, a heightened alert, U.S. fighters have now blasted 3 objects out of the skies since Friday, following the shooting down of the Chinese balloon off the South Carolina coast on February 4th. And now, in follow down in the article here, because we're running out of time, I'm not going to read the whole article. They also came out to say that the object that was shot down, what they said was Chinese object, the first object, they have also clarified that it was not a harmful object. In fact, in the article here as well, they said the United States have monitored this object for so long. And it was actually a research, it was not a spy. It was not a spy object that was out there to come and spy. And even in the article here, they said the wind have blown it out, have took it out of control. That they themselves, the United States themselves, were monitoring it. But because they want to create that tension, They want to create that narrative that China is doing X, Y, Z, so you can go to war, so you can be killed. They have to come out with these things. Now they bomb the tail object. The tail object then is not Chinese object. And they can't prove it to say it was their object. And they can't prove it to say it was another object. You know what the explanation they came out with? It came from space. Now that's the explanation they came out with to say it was an object that came from space. It was an object, it was UFO. Okay? So this is what they are doing to get the attention of the American to go to war, to fight useless war. And you so-called Negro, you go to journey to go fight useless war to die. But let's see further what other CIA are saying, okay? What other FBI are saying, what other people in the system are saying about the whole situation. Let's see. The making of World War III, right? Let's continue. The making of World War III. Let's see another thing here. So let's hear from Scott Ritter, an CIA agent. Let's hear from him what he said. Let's hear from him what he said about the war in Russia, okay? The making of World War III.
Because this is important. We do not have a military. We do not have a military today that can fight a large-scale ground war in Europe. I'll say it one more time because this is important. We do not have a military today that can fight a large-scale ground war in Europe. And yet, what is the president positioning us to do? Fight a large-scale ground war in Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, if we fight the Russians, we will lose. We will lose hands down. It won't even be close. NATO doesn't exist anymore. Oh, it's there as an organization. When I was in, the British had the British Army on the Rhine. 80,000 guys, highly trained. Today, they barely have 80,000 guys in their entire military. Ask the Brits to put together a brigade and send it out their island into Europe. They can't do it. They can't do it. Ask the French. They can't do it. Ask the Germans. They can't do it. No one can do it. This is why Joseph Borrell, who is the head of foreign policy for the European Union, is freaking out right now because he recognizes the trajectory that Europe's on, which implies the potential for combat with Russia. And he says Europe cannot beat Russia in a war. That's an absolute statement of fact. People talk about the Russian military today, and if you read our newspapers, you listen to the news, you're thinking these guys are just a bunch of local yokel bumblings. They can't fight. They can't do anything right. Heck, they got beat north of Kiev. The ghost of Kiev shot down all their airplanes. Those 13 brave Marines gave them the finger and told them to stick it in their ear. No, guys. The Russians are some of the finest, most professional troops in the world. Why? Because in the 20 years that we were squandering our resources, hunting down goat herders and insurgents in Iraq and Afghanistan, they were focused on fighting us. Not because they want to fight us, but because we were promulgating policies that were pushing them into a corner where they had no choice to fight us. In 2008, Russia fought a short 5-day war with Georgia. It was a Russian victory, but it was a close-run thing because the Georgians had been trained for a number of years by U.S. Marines, and their small unit tactics were outstanding. And the Russians went in there, and they were getting waxed at the small unit level. The Georgians were shooting, moving, communicating, outmaneuvering, outflanking, moving. And the Russians were like, what the heck's going on here? We're slow and lumbering. They had to bring in their artillery, their armor, and just grind it through. And they beat them. But they realized we got a problem here because that's a small army trained to NATO standards. If we went up against a big army trained to NATO standards, we get waxed. So they changed the whole way they did business. And we saw that from 2008 to 2014. Remember 2014, Crimea, little green men? Well, the little green men were the new face of the Russian army, professional, not conscripts, contract soldiers. We call them volunteers in America. They call them contractors, a little bit more honest. It's about money. How am I going to make some money? Join the military, become a professional. 70% of the Russian military today is composed of contract soldiers. They're very, very good at what they do. It's not just at the small unit level. In 2016, again, because of our policies, what did Russia do? They brought back Cold War era units, the 1st Guards Tank Army, the 20th Combined Arms Army. These were units that used to exist during the Cold War whose sole purpose was to punch through NATO lines, get into NATO rear areas, and annihilate everything. Large-scale ground combat. And the Russians brought these units back, breathed new life into them, gave them new equipment. They're there. The Russians today are organized to fight large-scale ground combat in Europe. And when I say organized to fight, that means organized to win. How do we know this? Well, we see it right now, ladies and gentlemen. You can talk about the Ukrainians all you want. I'll tell you this. Not only were they one of the largest militaries in Europe, they were one of the best equipped militaries in Europe, one of the best trained militaries in Europe, one of the most competent militaries in Europe. This is the Ukrainian army I'm talking about. Ukrainian army was capable of defeating, hands down, any army in NATO besides the United States, maybe the Turks. But everybody else, Ukrainians would wax them. They're that good. And yet Russia is crushing them. Crushing them. That doesn't mean that Russia's not taking losses. Man, when you step into the ring with a heavyweight fighter, he's going to hit you. He's going to hit you hard, and if you're not careful, he's going to knock you out. And the Ukrainians are fully capable of delivering some heavy blows, and they have. The Russians aren't perfect. They have made mistakes, and they have paid a price. But the sign of a professional organization is your ability to adapt and overcome. And the Russians have adapted, and they've overcome. Today, we have people saying the Russian army officers aren't that good, their army's not that good. The battalion commanders that the Russians have on the ground in Ukraine today are the finest battalion commanders the world has ever seen. These guys are doing miracles. America's battalion commanders would do well to study what these guys are doing, how you lead from the front, sustain combat operations for 100 days, and you get better, not worse. That's a sign of a professional. The Russians are winning, hands down, and they are going to win, hands down. There's nothing that can happen to stop this. Nothing. But there's a problem. We can make the cost for Russia very high. We make it so high that it actually becomes painful. And if we make it too high, then we have what we call a game-changing moment. And we're on the verge of reaching that. We're providing the Ukrainians with weapons that are not going to change the outcome of the war. They are not. HIMARS is not going to change the outcome of the war. The M777A2 with its Excalibur round is not going to change the outcome of the war. Even if they get the Harpoon anti-shipping missile, it's not going to change the outcome of the war. But what it will do is kill Russians. It will kill Russians in large numbers. And this will make it more difficult for Russia to win its victory in a reasonable time frame. It'll drag this conflict out. Now, Russia will win, but the price that will be paid by Russia will be very high, and the price paid by Ukraine will be even higher. And for all the people that say we have the little Ukrainian flag on our thing, we've identified ourselves, go to hell. Because if you care about the Ukrainian people, if you give a damn about humanity, then you'd want this war to be over today. Because all that's going to happen between now and the inevitable termination of this conflict is tens of thousands of Ukrainians are going to die. Ukrainian infrastructure will be destroyed. But that's not even the worst that can happen. The worst that can happen is when Russia decides that America has gone too far. You see, this is not a war that's being fought in Ukraine. It's a special military operation. You should probably look into what that means. It means that Russia's carrying out pretty much a punitive police action to punish Ukraine for 8 years of violence inflicted on the Russian population of the Donbass. This was not a war of conquest. This was not a war of domination. Yes, they did some things in Kiev to shape the battlefield, but the primary objective is to close with and destroy 60 to 100,000 Ukrainian troops that were threatening Donbass. And the Russians are achieving that as we speak. But the the price that they're paying is very high. And we're treating it as if it's a war. We have a defense secretary who has said that the purpose of the United States is basically to bleed Russia dry, to achieve a strategic victory by making the Russians pay such a heavy price that they are no longer able to threaten Europe. Well, if you're a Russian listening to that, what are you thinking? Okay, no. Guys, let me just remind you of the name, Qasem Soleimani. You remember that name? Qasem Soleimani was the Iranian general who provided weapons and training and assistance to Iraqi insurgents while we were occupying their country. And he is credited with killing 500 to 600 American soldiers as part of this. And we hate him so much. We hate him so much that we assassinated him. We held a grudge and we killed him. Well, you know what? We are Qasem Soleimani now. We are doing what Qasem Soleimani did to us, but this time we're doing it to the Russians, and they're paying an even heavier price. We are creating bitterness, anger, resentment in Russia. And at some point, they're going to cross the line, and they're going to fire missiles outside of Ukraine into American targets, into NATO targets. And now we're talking a real war, one that we won't win. Joe Biden, you're writing checks the American body can't cash.
All right. You heard it from the horses himself, Mark. It never came from another mouth. He said it, right? The making of World War III. I want to make my title. I only came out with the title of today's discussion. The making of World War III. Now, like I said, I will repeat again. Start getting your passport ready. I'm not putting fear in you because I don't want for Joseph Arobadin to come and ask me a question that I'm putting fear in American, all right, or in his citizen. I'm just saying, try to start getting your passport. Don't wait for the 11:59 and then before you start talking about your passport. You wait for the 11:59, by 12 o'clock, you're going to be dead. Because by 12 o'clock, by the time you get to the post office is going to be closed. By 12 o'clock, by the time you go online to start searching the post office or the immigration to send your application and thing, they're going to tell you no one is in the office, or at this time we are closed. We are no longer accepting application. We are no longer accepting any paperwork. 12 o'clock, you're going to be dead. Don't wait for the 11:59 hour. Start getting your passport. Even if you are not traveling, just get it. Put it down somewhere. Put it down somewhere. Okay? Now, you heard what he said. I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to add to it before it can be that, oh, WCC said this. We don't want for nobody to hijack our channel. Okay? So we're going to keep it. All right? So, let's see another video to what Scott said if it is true that the Russians are winning the war. And he said, the Ukrainian, it is true, they are hating the Russian at some point, but they are not going to win. And if you see it, the Western media, their report that they gave, right? They always give report on Ukraine when Ukraine have done certain thing, maybe to Ukraine have captured certain or Russian ammo or ammunition, right? They will show, oh yeah, the Ukrainian has done this. They are defeating the Russian. They are doing this. All right? But this is a special CIA, and he's standing down there and he's saying it. Ukraine never going to win. It is true that Ukraine, I mean, even if you get in the ring, if I get in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, do you think I'm going to win? Absolutely not. But am I going to hit Floyd Mayweather? Yeah, I mean, maybe 1 or 2 punches I'm going to give it. But I will never win. Okay? Because I can never win. And that is what happening with Russia and Ukraine. But let's see here to authenticate what Scott said. Let's see here.
Like on the ground there? Well, absolutely, Pete. Right behind me is the Azovstal Steelworks. These are exclusive pictures that you're seeing because right now we're the only news crew here on the ground and this close to the...
Sorry, folks. I saw something here. Oh, I wanted to... All right. So I want to put this screen out here that was sent by Sandra. So he said, this person said, yeah, true, Scott, those Nazi in Ukraine are well trained and well armed by US/NATO. At least they will. A lot of help from them. There are a lot of help from them. They're on the Donbass front now. And there's a question, and this video going to answer, even it's going to add to your to the statement you put here. The Nazi, right, trained by the US or trained by NATO, okay, in Ukraine, that was threatening the Russian, right? But see what happened to them here. See what the Russian did to them.
The plant, and indeed it has been captured by the Russian forces, by the forces of the Donetsk People's Republic after all of the Azovstal fighters, of the neo-Nazi fighters, have decided to surrender. They received orders to surrender. Quite importantly, among those who have chosen to become prisoners of war are, well, the commanders of the Azov battalion, three most media-friendly figures, which you have quite likely seen on TV, making statements, addressing to the world, addressing their command, addressing the authorities, pleading to them to, well, save them, to extract, to evacuate them. Well, they have been extracted in a way, maybe not in the way that they expected to. They were extracted to prisons, to the penitentiary facilities here. I'm talking of those fighters who are healthy, but there were dozens of wounded people in very serious conditions without access to proper food or medicine. They have been taken to hospitals and they are, of course, receiving treatment. Now, this comes after, well, months of a siege here that we have seen, that we filmed the fighting here, and after months of heavy shelling, of heavy fighting, heavy pressure by the Russian forces there, by the forces of the Donetsk People's Republic, they have decided to surrender. Quite importantly, nobody stormed them after direct orders from the Russian President Vladimir Putin to just lay siege to this place and make this operation as humanitarian as possible. Have a listen.
I consider the proposed storming of the industrial zone impractical. I order you to cancel it. This is a time when we must think. We must always think, but even more so in this case, about preserving the life and health of our soldiers and officers. There's no need to climb into these catacombs and crawl underground through these industrial facilities. Block off this industrial area so that the fly doesn't fly through. Once again, invite everyone who has not yet laid down their arms to do so. The Russian side guarantees their lives.
Well, this Azovstal plant was a cesspit for the worst of the worst, that, well, basically for the most radical elements of the Ukrainian forces, along with the regular soldiers. This plant was occupied and, well, commanded by the neo-Nazi Azov battalion. Again, these are some of the most radical and, right-wing party of the Ukrainian army. They're known to have committed multiple atrocities and, well, crimes against humanity and, well, crimes of war. Have a look.
Вы сегодня что мы будем принять?
I was arrested by the Azov and SBU men. They bet me on the head and legs with a chain, fired a gun close to my ear, threatened to shoot me in the head or to shoot my feet. They humiliated me and said they were going to rape me. They threatened to bring my wife and daughters in and torture them in front of me. I could not eat for 3 days.
Azov was one of those many battalions. They are what they are.
So again, this is the same Azov battalion that is now being treated in accordance with the every word, with every article of international law applied to prisoners of war. They themselves did not bother following those rules. This is why the special forces of the Donetsk People's Republic, in fact, they are right behind me, and minutes ago they started the operation to demine the place. We've already heard some gunfire from the premises, not because of the contact with the enemy, but rather because they were shooting a mine. So that's why they weren't happy, as they told me, they weren't happy that the Azov battalion decided to lay down arms because, well, they were quite bloodthirsty. But, well, what happened, it has happened. It was very humanitarian. So, but again, there's no secret as to what's going to happen to the prisoners of war, to these people, because according to the Russian authorities, to the local government here, those who will be tried and found guilty of committing these crimes, of committing crimes against people here, of committing war crimes, well, they will have to face military tribunal, and again, they will face punishment in accordance with the law.
This is probably one of the most dangerous things I've ever done on this channel.
Boko Haram, Boko Haram, Boko Haram. Never exit the vehicle.
A little scared, but we're going to be safe, hopefully.
So it's probably the most dangerous.
All right, sorry for that. Went into another video. Okay, so from the video that you just watched, first of all, at the end of the statement, you can see that Russia does not want to fight. Russia is not fighting. Okay, and even as that, let's go back to Scott. You heard what Scott said. The war between Russia and Ukraine is not really war. It's a special military operation. Now, and this is where the Western media don't say, and they go and say Russia is invading Ukraine just to make the war to go against Ukraine. But this is a special CIA saying it is not a war. Russia is not fighting war. Russia is carrying on special military operation, right, to protect her interests, to save her citizens, her borders, okay, from NATO, okay, from America having base there in the back of Russia, okay. So, and the last video I just showed you heard or you saw it, right? What the journalist said. The local authority, okay, are also working with Russia, with Putin. You understand that? The local authority, the local government there work alongside with Russia. This is in Ukraine, okay? And that's how those neo-Nazis also got caught. And they're going to imprison them and they're going to face justice. And they committed a lot of war crime there. They committed a lot of crime there. These are people that support that the NATO support, the US support. So the many ammunition that Joe Biden has passed into order, these are the people was going to. The ammunition that Joe Biden have sent, the vehicles, these are the people I was going to. And this is what Scott was talking about. I don't care how you can support Ukraine and do well XYZ, Ukraine can win. And the moment Russia get to know that this is XYZ supporting Russia, the next step Russia going to take is to start bumping missiles. Far range, far distant. So you have seen what Scott said. Ukraine can win. Russia get one of the most dangerous and deadlier, sophisticated, and prepared military in the world that the US cannot even withstand. This is a special CIA talking, and no one else talking it, right? The making of World War III. Let's continue to the last video. Get your passport ready. If you're not traveling, just get your passport. So here, we're going to see some of the lies, okay, or how America is building this wall, okay? You're going to see here, and you're going to see again, CIA coming out again and saying America should stop. Let's watch this video here.
On this Monday. So glad to have all of you here. I'm Clayton Morris.
I'm Natalie Morris.
The Bumblebee sweater has made its appearance again.
Back in the beach.
This mistake is costing Amazon Prime shoppers big. Are you still using Prime? Because at this point,
let's get to our top story and let's talk about this crazy balloon UFO story, shall we?
Yeah.
The globalists spent all freaking weekend scaring us about UFO attacks around the world. And I believe, guys, this is all a major distraction to take our mind off of two major items, which we'll get to in just a second. Folks, you are watching literally a disinformation campaign of the highest order being waged on your brains right now from the ground up. You should grab your pencils, grab your pens, wake up grandma. And this is something that actually should be taught in colleges in a couple of years, like how the government perpetrated a propaganda disinformation campaign in order to get us into World War III, essentially. And you're watching it carry out sort of step by step in real time, and watching how the media is totally complicit in this propaganda campaign. And they're carrying out this false narrative that China and perhaps Russia are sending dangerous war balloons to attack us with explosive payloads that are going to drop on our house, because that would be highly effective use of our time. Like a random balloon with a payload of explosives just randomly landing on some house somewhere in God knows where, in like Miamisburg, Ohio.
That's not scary.
Like you can't even control the damn thing. I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous. The media is totally complicit in this story, and we on this show have resisted the BS from the very beginning. But it's first really important to realize that whenever the corporate media and the White House are reporting the very same thing, like in lockstep, and frankly, Congress too, you have a few dissenting voices, but mostly they're all on the same page about this. We should all run away from it. You should all run away. That should be your first indication that we are being played like a fiddle. If you see all the nightly newscasts, which over the past 24, 48 hours have all been on the same page with this story, they've all been put out basically by the Pentagon. Like, here are the talking points, run with this, and then go do your nightly newscasts, NBC, CBS, and the rest of them. And they all led with this story. They've all been leading with this story over the past 48 hours. Watch.
Breaking news tonight, the U.S. shoots down yet another flying object today, the fourth in just over a week. This one over Lake Huron.
New this hour, dramatic new details about the unidentified object shot down by fighter jets just miles off the coast of Alaska yesterday. Unlike the Chinese spy balloon shot down last Saturday, this object demanded more immediate action yesterday.
But first, the new questions tonight after the White House revealed just this afternoon that an F-22 fighter jet shot down another object flying over Alaska.
Or is there something more to be concerned about here?
Well, I think, Jim, the big thing is that obviously there's heightened awareness now at this point. So, you had the incident a week ago where we shot down the Chinese surveillance balloon, who were pretty convinced that that's exactly what that was. And then we start seeing all these other objects. Clearly, the radar operators for NORAD are very sensitive now to anything that even looks remotely like an unusual object in the skies.
Okay. All right. So should we be concerned about it? He says dramatic new details. Really? Dramatic about a balloon? Dramatic new details about all of this. Never before have we had the Pentagon and the White House coming out holding like press conferences reporting on UFOs. Unbelievably, like you're literally seeing the Pentagon coming out talking about UFOs, and reporters are asking about it was like pulling teeth to get anyone to ask a question.
And that graphic that they just showed was really comical. It was like unknown thing, ... 50,000. Other unknown thing, ... 40,000.
Feet,
like
yeah.
The
balloon,
yeah.
balloon to UFO ratio graph that the geniuses.
It's like sort of wordism, just a bunch of words that like we're supposed to be afraid because they put it into a graphic.
I mean, I just would love to ask our chat right now. We're all watching live right now. Do you guys believe this? Do you guys believe this propaganda that they're spinning to you right now? I'm going to show you just a few kind of points on this, and maybe we can all make up our own minds on this. And maybe we're totally wrong. Maybe we're actually under attack by either UFOs, aliens right now, or China. Like they're literally attacking us with balloons. But you see,
or our own sort of government, right?
Yeah, or well, that's another big piece of this. Yes, or is it us that's doing this? So is it the United States doing this?
I mean, there's
like
a
the Nord
finite
Stream
amount
pipeline?
of possibilities. One, it's not happening, and it's like graphic design.
Right.
2, that it's aliens. 3, that it's foreign actors. 4, that it's
us.
Yeah, that it's internal, and that's pretty much it. So we have to pick one.
And so if we look at his history, which we will in a second, you might answer number 4 on your list. Oh, there's a history of us doing this to ourselves? Yeah, there is. So my favorite moment came yesterday when Patrick Murphy, the former Secretary of the Army, was saying the quiet part out loud, admitting that America and NATO are at war with Russia. He admits this right on camera, and in the Ukraine, and that all of these China UFOs are an indication that we need to be ready for war with China. This is the biggest threat to your life right now. Watch.
I think we're sending a message of what would happen, in Ukraine. Obviously, we had this incredible coalition, as you know, pushing back on the Russian invasion. And I think it's sending a message, hopefully it's sending the right message to China that the world will rally around us if they keep messing around.
Secretary, the country's got to rally around this single entity, China. Everything from the farmland they're buying, from the schools they're taking over, from the corporations that sold their soul in order to get cheap goods. This has got to be a whole of government and a country approach.
Yeah, I'd say a whole of nation approach, as you said, Brian. And what people need to understand in our great country is that we're the underdog here. We're a third of their size, and I'm not just talking about geographic and population. And
they have more ICBMs mobile and fixed than we do.
Right, and that's why listen, America at our best is the reluctant warrior, but we're a warrior, and we need to make sure when you have less than 1% of the country that's serving, and you only have 26% of the country that can even serve because of the obesity crisis in America and some other things. We need to wake up and understand that we have a competitor out there in China that thinks they're the preeminent power in the world. We don't want any unnecessary wars. We have to always prepare for the worst, God forbid.
We got to prepare for the worst. So that's why we're seeing all of this. So we got to prepare for the worst. So they even brought out the big guns this weekend to really sell this story. And the White House trotted out Karine Jean-Pierre, their hapless spokesperson, to make sure that it makes sense of all of these UFO attacks. Listen.
Why is the American military shooting something out of the sky over Canada?
Because it's part of NORAD. The NORAD is part of it's a what you call a coalition, a consortium,
pact of nations.
A pact,
Okay.
Exactly. And so that's why we were able to do that. Again, we didn't do it on our own. We did it clearly in step with Canada.
Yeah. So up there in Canada.
That wasn't super clear. Also, I thought NORAD just tracked Santa.
I mean, what a clown show that we're seeing right now. So yeah, we had Canada. Canada took care of this. So we worked with NORAD and Canada to make sure that we got these things under control. You even
when I hear NORAD, I still think of War Games, the movie War Games with Matthew Broderick.
Oh yeah,
that's like the last time I heard NORAD. Like, when was the last time you heard him talk about NORAD?
Well, our children use it to track Santa.
For tracking Santa. That's about it.
They have a Santa
I didn't know
tracker.
they tracked him.
Some people
do.
Some people
Didn't you learn that from Edward Snowden?
Some people saying here, just real quick, and we can edit this out, but some people saying the stream is having issues here. Are you guys seeing this? Everyone on the stream, on the YouTube stream, is saying, "Oh no," because it cut off the stream. So
because I saw people saying that something was
playing up something like this unless they wanted you to feel scared, like good cop, bad cop, but we're all on the same team here. And you had a number of Democrats saying the same thing as Chuck Schumer this weekend. Like, we really need to be concerned about these balloons. Watch.
The first balloon, there was a much different rationale, which I think was the appropriate rationale. We got enormous intelligence information from surveilling the balloon as it went over the United States.
Didn't the Chinese get enormous intelligence as well?
Well, they could have been getting it anyway, but we have to know what they're doing. Okay, and we don't know exactly, but we got a lot of that.
So to be clear, we got a ton of intelligence data about a wayward balloon. that they warned us about was off course and was just floating around. But we got tons of intelligence data. And then George Stephanopoulos says, well, wait a minute. Didn't they also get intelligence? Well, he's like, yeah, but they always get intelligence. So again, here, they're just admitting that this is all a joke.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you have these senile people who are caught in these moments of clarity, you get some of the truth here. So never before have we had the press corps actively, you know, questioning this stuff. It seems like are these secret Chinese, Russian spy balloons, aircraft drones? It doesn't matter what it is. I seem to remember actually a former FBI agent, John D'Souza, about a year ago or so, warning us that the deep state was going to use a fake UFO invasion in order to distract us from what's really going on. John D'Souza is a retired FBI special agent who served 25 years. He worked on counterterrorism and paranormal cases specifically. In fact, he had a top secret security clearance during his FBI career. He literally was the one that collected X-Files that were used in the show X-Files. Like, that's what his job was. He warned us that politicians are going to start talking about UFOs. They're going to start talking about unexplained objects, UAPs, as they call them, and trying to drum up fear, as he said, about a fake UFO invasion. He said this almost a year ago. Watch him, FBI, basically lay out their playbook. Watch.
If you want to slim down, you should skip breakfast. True or false?
The idea of breakfast.
They're going to have to do something else. And I think fake alien invasion is one of the main things they have ready. And here's one of the keys to understanding fake alien invasion is that our military, for instance, our military industrial complex is so large, so huge, it's larger than many countries. There's segments of the Pentagon that I refer to as the dark Pentagon. It is military officials that are working with the cabal because they really need to get the fear up to get back on the map with this fake alien invasion. And we're going to see a lot more politicians start supporting the Tic Tacs and the UAPs. And they're all going to be getting online to support them and to show how important they are.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Isn't that crazy?
Where'd you dig that up?
Well, I know these guys. And so it's just like, I know that this has been talked about in these circles. Like, they're going to use this as an example.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see how they're literally.
Let's answer a question here from Miss Life. She said, how are China and America enemies when America has sent all its production to China? That's a very good question. Let me tell you the crime China have committed against the United States. The crime. China have committed a crime against the United States. Let me tell you that crime. The only crime China have committed against the United States, which of course they mention it in the last article that we just read, is because China is becoming a superpower that America does not want. That is the only crime China have committed, okay? By her becoming a superpower, which challenge the status of America, especially on the African continent. That's all. That's the crime China have committed against the United States. And they said it in the article where I said the intriguing tension of globalization, where China is becoming more and more powerful, okay, in the global space. That's the only crime China have committed against America, and America does not want that because, again, we have said this time with our number. These capitalist nations, they cannot compete. They don't understand what competition is. They might speak it, but they don't understand what competition is. Competition to them is for them to remain on top, to control everything, to supersede everything. Okay? That's competition to them. But they don't want anybody at that level competing with them. And who win, you win. They do not want it. And that is why they do not want Africa to be at the top there, or Africa to come to that level. Because Africa is the one that have made the United States superpower. Africa is the one that have made Europe superpower. Africa is the one that have made France superpower, Germany superpower. All of them is Africa. So if they see that another nation like China is coming in on the African continent, competing with them, and China is waking up Africa, okay? When it comes to technology, development, and so forth, Africans are going to China. Most African engineers, most African experts that on the African continent, where did they come from? They didn't come from Europe or UK or America. All Africans that have been trained here, most Africans that have been trained here, you know what America do? America hire them to stay here. Most Nigerian doctors, America don't allow them to go. America hire them here. Most Ghanaian doctors, America don't allow them to go. America hire them here. And then let's go on. But with China, a lot of Africans have gone, doctors, engineering, whatsoever the situation may be. They have gone to China. China don't hire them. China have large population. China cannot even hire her population. After their education, they go back to their African continent and they contribute to it. So America started it. So China, that's the difference between the US, the UK, and China. So that's the only crime the Chinese have committed by opening African eyes, by training Africans. Okay? And it is because of China that Africa have come to a certain stage in the world. It's not because of the US. It's not because of the UK. They have never done anything productive, meaningfully for Africa to be recognized at the world stage. It's China. And that is a fear of America. That's the only crime China have created against America. Other than that, China did not kill an American. China is not in war with America. China is not interfering in American politics or in American election. None of that kind. So that is a crime of China. And they said it because China is becoming more superpower and competing with America at the global stage. That is the crime of China by opening African eyes. That listen, do you want to stay with your oppressor? Do you want to stay with your oppressor and never rise? Or you want to come and do 50-50 mutual agreement with me? You win, I win. That is China crime. Let's continue.
Laying out this playbook, but what's amazing is this the playbook that we're seeing right now unfold? Who knows? But guys, this has all happened before. Almost precisely, exactly how this is laying out has happened before. Just 2 days after the attack on Pearl Harbor, unsubstantiated reports suddenly started proliferating all over the New York area about approaching aircraft that were coming in. It caused a minor invasion panic. People were freaking out. Stocks plummeted across New York City. So the stock market plummeted. People were freaking out. Where did those reports come from? We don't know. It didn't matter because it had the desired effect. People were freaking out about it. And that night, President Roosevelt led his fireside chat, famous fireside chats that he used to do. And he told Americans that we're declaring war on Japan. So, hey, all that fear that you had today, yeah, don't worry. That anxiety, we're going to go to war with Japan. So don't you worry about it. Then a few weeks later in February of 1942, to keep the heat on the war, rhetoric for the American public, so we didn't forget about Pearl Harbor, we needed to keep this, fire going, right? The US government suddenly released a ton of weather balloons. Sound familiar? And they did this over Los Angeles. And they were all designed basically to look like incoming attacking UFOs or aircraft. Like, what is descending suddenly on Los Angeles? Searchlights lit up the sky. Air raid sirens blared over Los Angeles. Anti-aircraft fire. This was the scene. Here it is. This was the Battle of Los Angeles, it became known. Everyone freaked out just as they planned. Wow, look at all those crazy objects. Is that Japan about to attack us? Mr. President, can you protect us from the evildoers, the invaders? Made all the newspapers, of course, searchlights and anti-aircraft guns comb the sky during an alarm. Everyone freaked out about it. It made all the newspapers and became known as the Battle of Los Angeles. And, are there aliens attacking us? No, it's the Japanese. It doesn't matter. Or is it just weather balloons? It doesn't matter. Just go along with it. Start firing the anti-aircraft guns. And America was sold the idea of going deeper into the bloody war to protect ourselves from Japan, of course. So a fake foreign invasion is what they're doing here. Former Lieutenant General Mike Flynn, yesterday, and he knows more than he's saying in this tweet. He knows this is fake. Look at this tweet last night from Mike Flynn. Be very careful chasing shiny objects, he tweets. Just when you least expect, you'll get punched so hard in the nose, you'll not recover. Steady, boys. Steady.
Okay, who's the boys that he's talking to? The American military?
I guess you guys let me know in the chat. Who is Mike Flynn talking about there? Like, who is he talking to? Is
who's
he
doing the punching and whose nose?
I think what he's saying is like, oh, Congress, these military guys, all right, we're chasing these things up in the sky. We're doing something here. What are we doing? Are we doing stuff to stir up? Because what's going to happen is once we stir up this hornet's nest and we start to really provoke a war with Russia, which
so
is
it's collective American nose will get punched by foreigners, by foreign military.
Right. You think you're going to go up against China and Russia simultaneously when we literally have an army right now that can't even get its recruitment numbers up? And as you heard Patrick Murphy just a few minutes talk about like the obesity epidemic in the United States, like we're the fattest country in the world now. The new numbers just came out. America is the fattest country in the world. We're not ready. So you're going to fight a two-pronged war against Russia and China? Go ahead, David.
To be fair, I don't think we could fight one of them on their own right now.
No,
you know, let alone both.
Well, we are.
I don't think we should fight
it
either.
Would be the BRICS nations.
We are fighting, and we are fighting Russia right now.
Mm-hmm.
And all of NATO is fighting Russia right now, and they're losing badly. So we think we're going to be able to do this on our own or separate. I mean, it's unbelievable. So here's Arnaud Bertrand. I just want to put a pin in this. I love this tweet. He says, we're reaching a level of warmongering that is beyond terrifying. My timeline is filled with stuff like this, talking about basically going to war with China. What's wrong with people? Listen to yourselves. The only objective worthy of pursuit is peaceful coexistence, not defeat of China, military or otherwise. Big pre-World War I vibes that he's saying here. Yeah, that's right. And I just gave you an example of World War II vibes that were used to really catapult us into World War II. He's talking about World War I vibes.
I don't want those vibes.
He says this, yes, sadly, in response to another person saying World War I makes more sense now. It does when you think about it. Yes, sadly, we thought we'd grown and could never again reach the same level of insanity, but here we are. Our technology might evolve, but we clearly don't, which makes it even scarier. I would love to know.
I responded to somebody.
What happens when the prostate enlarges and the urine channel gets tight? If you have an enlarged prostate, do this 5 seconds.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I responded to somebody on Twitter. It's like, I don't understand why everything that happens like this, our first inclination is to shoot it. Like, why is it always like, let's say aliens did come in peace and we're going to shoot at them. And it's going to be like, oh, these people aren't peaceful. We're coming back with our military.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, why is that always the first thing we do? That's like, we want to fearmonger and just take it down.
That was the plot I couldn't get behind Independence Day. I was like, but wait, we're just,
you're going to shoot
no,
it?
we don't ask questions?
Wait, it just landed on the White House lawn. What was the famous 1950s movie, the great science fiction movie where it lands like on the White House lawn or the by the Washington Monument? What was it called?
I see the cover. I see the cover of it.
Someone in the chat.
Alien Invasion or
no, it's called like From Here to Tomorrow or Tomorrow something or it's.
Okay, guys, so that's the last video. So you see what is going on, right? That is why media or channel like this is very important that you subscribe to it, because this is where channel like this and many others is where you actually get to understand the global situation, is where you really get to understand what is going on. Because if Obama can tell you that democracy is failing because nobody no longer believe in the media, when the media themselves are there to propagate messages of lies, and they are telling you the only reason democracy is failing is because nobody believes in the media. They are not telling you that the reason why democracy is failing is because people no longer believe that democracy is the system created by the people, for the people, and of the people. They are not telling you that democracy is a system that protects people. They are not telling you that. Okay? They are not telling you that people have lost faith in democracy. But if you come to tell us that the system is failing because nobody believes in the media, that is just to tell you that these people are not there to serve our interests. And the last message I want to give before I leave is, we started with liberal versus conservative, and we said they both protect white supremacy. To our so-called brothers and sisters in the police force, if you have not learned yet, if you have not seen yet, please, just because you are in the police force, that doesn't mean you are not a Negro. That does not mean that you are not part of the Negroid. Okay? Don't think the system is going to protect you or the system is going to come for you. Don't think Blue Alive Act signed by Obama 2015 is for you. What I want to say to you is that you guys are in a police force. Always have it in mind that you are there to serve the interests of your people. Now, I'm not saying we don't have problems. I'm not saying we don't have issues. But please, whenever you go on a call and you found out that that call involves blood pressing, please don't go there with the mentality that the system taught you. Don't go there. Always go there to make sure and save that life. Okay? Now, turn that person over to the system, and that the system kill that person. And then we will go after the system. Then we coming after you. Because we don't want to speak ill against our own brothers and sisters who we say they are serving us. We don't want to speak ill against them. We don't want to speak against them. We love you. We don't hate you. So love us the same way when there is 911 call. Because most of the calls that come in are done by white civilians. And you rush and go in with the mentality that, oh, white people are, black people are violent, black people are this, black people are taught, black people are criminal. And once you go in with that mentality, you're going to go there with not solving the situation, but adding to the situation. And that situation may end up becoming the person's last day to live. And it may turn out that person is not even a criminal. And you go there and kill that person. So please, as a black officer, if you are, attending to a call, whether that person is white or that person is black, if you are on a duty attending to a call, go there to save life. Please save your brother. Please save your sister. Please save your community. Because in the justice system, it's not going to protect you. It will protect the other people. It will not protect you. So please, the same way white people can go to a call and they go see white person there and they save that person. When you go to a call and you see black person, save that person. Turn the person over to the system and let the system deal with them. And that's the same way white people, they go to a call, they see white people there, they take that white person, whether that person committed a crime or not, they make sure that person live and turn the person over to the system and let the system deal with the person. You can do the same thing. There have been many instances where white people have gone, they shoot building. They kill 4, 5, 10, 9 people down on the floor. They kill them. And white people go there, they don't shoot that person. They make sure they catch that person and they turn the person over to the system. They make sure that, in fact, they become nice to the person. They become sweet to the person. And they turn that person over to the system. They don't kill the person. Then how about you going to a call that involves black person, the person did not even kill? Just because somebody did not want to say, oh, I saw a black person passing, this person looks suspicious. I saw the person having gun, and most of the time the person don't even have a gun. The person don't have gun, but just cell phone in their hands. So please, look at what other people are doing to their people and do the same thing. Apply the same thing in saving your people. Stop being part of white supremacy. Stop being part of that liberal. And stop being part of liberal does not also mean you should be part of conservative. Be black and serve black. Period. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being on. I will see you guys tomorrow on a Saturday show and also Friday. Thank you and thank you and thank you. See you all.